Ideally, you would say that motivation is just BS and it's really discipline that matters, the ability to churn out the work independent of your motivation. However, let's be honest, it's not all the time that we are disciplined. And secondly, what about the situations where we have not built the discipline yet and we are lacking the motivation to get some work done? Well, in my personal case, I have been using 4 strategies which have really helped me, for example, study when I am demotivated. What's cooking, sapiens? Welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Arham and I'm a 5th year medical student at the University of Oslo in Norway. So the very first strategy is what I call the Big Bang. So recently, I was listening to a talk by a professor, a doctor, a surgeon, and he was talking about how one of the main reasons why we have so much anxiety in the 21st century is because we are consistently thinking about multiple things at the same time. We find it really hard to focus on one thing at a time, and our brains are continuously in the, multitasking mode. And I couldn't agree more, because personally for me, let's say when I'm studying, I have so many other thoughts in the back of my mind. I could be reading something about ectopic pregnancy, and then in the back of my mind, I'm actually thinking about other stuff, like scripting another video, like other new ideas for my videos, or, the fact that I have to train, hit the gym that day, or maybe call a friend, or maybe, reply to some emails. I mean, there is so much stuff going on in that mind, and we're consistently bombarding ourselves with like new stimuli and new thoughts all the freaking time. And since anxiety is directly linked to demotivation, obviously you won't have the motivation to study or to do anything when you are anxious, right? And hence it becomes absolutely essential that we say no to multitasking while we are demotivated and try and focus on that one particular task that we want to be doing at that given time. And then the question arises, well, how exactly am I supposed to focus on that one particular task? Now, how to develop that focusing ability, if that's a word. And the answer might sound complicated, but it's actually quite simple. The answer is practice. Let's say you have a person who wants to learn the guitar and he practices like 30 minutes every single day for 6 months. Obviously, after those 6 months, he will be pretty good. And let's say he starts practicing even more, maybe like 2, 3, 4 hours a day, and after a certain time, let's say about 5 years, so like 6 years, he will be able to, truly master the art of playing the guitar. So it's all about practice. And the reason why we sort of suck at focusing is because we don't practice focusing much. And I want you guys to do this simple task from now on, which I am also trying to, get better at, which is focusing at just one thing at a time. For example, this could be the smallest thing in your day. Let's say drinking water. So when you're holding that glass of water, you just want to think about drinking water, nothing else. Just feel the water touching your lips, getting inside your mouth, reaching the pharynx, touching the esophagus, traveling down your throat, the esophagus, feel the muscles working, and then water finally reaching your stomach. Feel the entire process, and you will soon realize that while you are feeling this, or while you're imagining all these things, your mind will not be able to think about other stuff, in the back of your mind, because you are really trying to focus on this one thing at a time. And these 10 seconds is when you will surely realize the power of focusing. And hence, it's extremely important to have that one daily task that you want to accomplish. So if you are struggling with the motivation to study, just create that one big bang, aka that one goal, that one study goal for your entire day. For example, I am in the 5th year of medical school, and this semester we're having Obs and Gynae and Pediatrics, and I actually fallen behind on quite a few lectures. And by the way, this is the link to the video where I explain how I catch up on lectures when I fall behind, so check it out. So anyway, when you start falling behind on so many lectures, you start feeling a bit anxious. You're like, oh man, there is so much stuff to do, there are so many lectures to catch up on. How am I supposed to do all that stuff? So for example, today I just sat down and said to myself, you know what, I'm just gonna do this one chapter, ectopic pregnancies. That's it. If I complete this one big bang, this one task for the day, I cannot complain to myself about not being productive enough or not doing enough work for the day. So I have just focused on this one task for the day, and everything else, like filming this YouTube video, will be a bonus, So you have to just take one thing at a time. I think you get the point, right? Let's move on to the next strategy. The second strategy is actually to lower the quality bar, because in my case at least, oftentimes what is holding me back from what is actually making me demotivated is that I have too high expectations from myself. So let's say I want to study ectopic pregnancies once again. So what's going on in my mind is that I'm thinking, well, there is so much work to do. I need to first of all watch the lecture, like go through the lecture PDF, the PowerPoint, and then maybe also watch the lecture recording, and then maybe watch some YouTube videos to really understand the concepts, and then also make questions for active recall for this topic. So the quality, like the work quality, is so high that I'm thinking that, okay, that it simply increases the activation energy, and increased activation energy directly makes us demotivated, and it really makes it hard to start. So what we need to do is that we need to get started and sync, or like reduce that activation energy by having less expectations, by not being a perfectionist. I distinctly remember a few months ago when I was writing my thesis, I was actually finding it so freaking hard to get started, and that was because I had set the quality bar so high. I wanted to write something really good, and this had increased the activation energy, and the increased activation energy was making me more and more demotivated. And then I switched over to this mentality where I thought, okay, you know what, I'm just gonna write one bad page every single day and then worry about making it good later. And this actually got the wheel rolling, and a few weeks later I was actually done with my entire freaking thesis. Because remember, a blank page is your biggest enemy, and another way you could actually decrease the activation energy is just by telling yourself that, okay, you know what, I am just going to study for 30 minutes, and that's going to decrease that quality bar, and hence it will like make it easier to get over that friction and get started with studying. And once you get that wheel rolling, soon those 30 minutes will turn into like 60 minutes, and then into 120 minutes, and keep going on. Strategy number 3 is actually to factory reset your environment and create the perfect, scenario for studying, which will directly make you more motivated. And this could be done in several ways. You could, for example, start by cleaning your table, your desk, and start making the environment cleaner, sort of much more, comfortable. Maybe grab a cup of coffee or some fruits and, set them on the table, make it look nice, make it look cozy, maybe ignite a candle or something like that. Just make the environment very nice and appealing, so that it's sort of easier for you to get into the mode of studying and cross that demotivation barrier. On some days when I'm feeling demotivated, I might head to a coffee house, grab myself some coffee, a piece of cake. It makes the environment nicer, so that makes the process of studying much easier. The last and final strategy is actually quite simple, and that is combating your biggest enemy, which is this device right here. Now, for some very odd reason, we humans, we are so addicted to our social media and to our phones that we do not really understand the importance of, or the effect of turning your phone completely off and just putting it somewhere far off, hiding it somewhere, putting it under your pillow or under your bed, or maybe in another room, somewhere completely, somewhere far away, so that it will require a lot of effort for you to go and get your phone whenever you want to get that dopamine kick. Now this could actually vary from person to person. Some people actually like to just put their phone upside down on the table just in front of them and keep doing their work. For me, that does not work well. I need to hide my phone completely out of my vision, out of my sight, so that I can focus on my work. For example, while scripting this video, I was actually quite demotivated, so I just turned off my phone, put this in my bed, or like on my bed, and headed to my parents' room, where I sat down with my iPad and started writing this video, because I wanted this distraction completely out of my sight. That's a wrap for today's Sapiens. Now, you have probably heard about the word toxic productivity, and here is my take on that topic. So I'll see you guys on the other side, and before you leave, subscribe. Take care. Peace.